Alright, let's check on our generator before we go anywhere. Make sure it's going to be fine. Let's top off that fuel. Before I do anything. Did I catch you in time or too late? Light fog, cool. So tomorrow we've got fog. And no mention of any type of problem. So turn off. Add fuel. Oh, this is the Ekron gas station. I can show you where Ekron here is in just a minute, because it is one of the cities that a lot of people don't know where it is, but it is just part of the normal map. No mods or anything. Just making sure I top off my gas not before we do anything, because otherwise I will forget. Okay, so if we look at the map, you have Riverside, you have Rosewood, Midridge, Muldrow, West Point, and then Louisville. Now if you go, like, here's the main road that goes between Riverside and Rosewood. There's a city here. It's a smaller city called Ekron. And so the gas station is just the north end of that one. It's a really good place when you're doing high pop areas, because this little teeny tiny city here, it's got like a low to medium pop-ish population. So it's not fully medium, but it's not super low. But it's got a gas station, it's got a tool store, it's got a rural supply store, it's got a bookstore down here, it's got a pharmacy, it's got a grocery store and a gas station. Yep, a few bodies of water you can use for fishing or for a water supply if you're dealing with not a whole lot of rain. So yeah, Ekron is like a really good, I'm starting a run, let me get this all set up. It's also closest to center map. You can find a gas station that has water near it, which is the reason I choose it, is because it's center map for this type of run. But yeah, so it's a really good place for these kinds of runs. Because unfortunately when it comes to finding gas and water center map for doing this, there isn't another place in the entire map that's center map that has those two factors together. Like you either have to go to like one edge of the map or another. Because like to find that you can go to the far west. There's a gas station in the very far west. You can the one in the center of Riverside is kind of the northern border, and it's okay for that like northish. There's ones at Rosewood, I believe, just south of it. But again, same deal. Rosewood is the far south. But Ekron is the only city middle-ish. Like Muldrow is kind of middle-ish, but it's also one of the highest pop areas. So, you know, not great. And then the water opportunities around Muldrow aren't particularly plentiful. Okay, I'm gonna check something real fast. Okay. I was gonna say, we'll drive out west and see if I can't find a backpack, but according to Sun Realization, I basically have to drive past where I want to go anyway, or go out of my way to not go around it. So we'll just go towards, we'll forget the backpack for now. And the reason I didn't get out right away is we were eating food and you cannot climb out while you're doing another action. You have to wait for it to finish. And I've gotten myself killed that way before, thinking I was going to get out of the vehicle and then I just didn't. Got more fish that's starting to go stale. I have a feeling those 10 fish I grabbed thinking it'd be a whole bunch of food that I wouldn't need to worry about coming back for a while may not have actually been a whole bunch of food because it's all stale and doesn't give as much hunger. Yep, we are making salads while driving, so we're taking our food, chopping it up, you know, getting the cutting board out, dicing it up, putting it in our bowl, while hurtling down the road going 50, 60 miles an hour. It's fine. What could possibly go wrong? And that was a rhetorical question asking, are you cooking while driving? Yes. Wispeak says, without fruits, veggies, or game meat, it's going to be real hard to deal with hunger itself. I mean, I've got plenty of fruits and veggies at the house. We also have tons and tons of canned goods, which will be alright, but they'll probably result in weight loss. First car, this is Yankee Duel. Sorry, focusing on not killing myself in the turn. First car I ever found in a multiplayer game. Decided to read Novice First Aid while the other guy drove. He crashed and I couldn't get out to fight the zombies, drawn by the sound of the car crash. Yep. Reading books in the car is dangerous. There's ways you can get around, like cancel out of it, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's... I don't remember them all. There's like ways you can basically interrupt actions and whatnot. Got hit escape? Okay, I thought so, but I was like... I couldn't remember that was all the things that you couldn't do or whatever. Burning Sun says, it's not like you're going to run into a drunk driver or get pulled over by a cop. I mean, you're right. I also can just slam into a tree. Illuma, alright, well first we got the push-up cache, but Aluminum Shy says, so you can't run over a zombie in the car? You can absolutely run over zombies. The downside of running over zombies is so they hit the front of your car and you'll damage the hood of your car, your engine. Like you can do damage to your car. If you're running over the bodies, it'll mess up your tires and suspension. So hitting a zombie isn't a big deal, but every zombie you hit kind of just makes your car a little less awesome. So generally speaking, you don't want to be driving over zombies. And even if you have a car you don't care about, the risk you can run into is you slam into a zombie, it makes a bunch of noise, it starts drawing a horde to you. Now your car's like sputtering and stalling because your engine took real bad damage from hitting too many zombies. And you have the horde closing in as you're like sputtering and stalling again. It's a good way to get yourself killed. So you can absolutely run over zombies, you just have to be careful and just know you are sacrificing your car to do so. Anyways, I owe 5 push-ups, so I'm going to do this real fast. And also, if you hit a tree or something like that solid going fast enough, you're going to fracture your leg and possibly kill yourself. There's been a number of people who've had really long runs end by just flying down the road at like 70-something miles an hour and then slapping into a tree and just absolutely killing themselves. I've heard that, Colo. Colo basically saying, you know, I've heard when a zombie is dead, you can drive over the max speed and your car won't take damage. But I've also heard from other people who I would also trust that that is not the case. So I've heard from both, like, I've heard sources I would trust claim both situations. And clearly one of them is not correct. But, yeah, some of them will say it'll mess up your tires and suspension if you drive over corpses at any speed, and some of them say you can go full blast over corpses in that and it won't. So I do not know what the correct answer is on that and like what actually happens. You know, I probably should take a car I don't care about and test it at some point. But that said, you know, it is one thing to be careful. But oh, and there are mods that let you like soup up the armor on vehicles and add all sorts of weapons to your vehicles and all that kind of nonsense. There's tons of mods that do that kind of stuff. They just make like the truck with like the snow plow in front of it you can just go through zombies with. But yeah, to Cole's second point, even if you can drive over the corpses can actually work very deceptively like a ramp, and it's very hard to tell if you have a large amount of corpses in a spot, unless you just remember, hey, don't do that. So you can absolutely just be driving down the road going 50 miles an hour, hit a couple of corpses, and then find yourself airborne going, oh no. And then once that happens, you're no longer in control of the situation. If you hit something, you hit something. There's just nothing you can do about it. Like, I've got a clip somewhere where I drove over some corpses going pretty fast in one of the sports cars and just launched a car up off the road, like full-on airborne. It turned on its side, landed going the wrong direction, and then backed into a tree. And it didn't hurt me, but it damaged the car. But it's definitely one of those ones where it's like, I need to chill. Yep, rhetorical answer says, yeah, I was watching Disnoff before I fell asleep, and he hit a body and almost flipped the car. Yep. I haven't been able to tune into him playing much Project Zomboid. I used to watch Disnoff a lot with the RimWorld plays. Like, that was one of the ones I would tune in when I didn't have a whole lot of other people I watched on, was Disnoff. I've raided Disnoff a couple times. Not so much nowadays, because I prefer raiding, you know, smaller streamers, and Disnoff is definitely not a small streamer. Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good stream. Like, it's a shame that by the time I'm done with my stream, because I usually go for like 11 hours, that I just really didn't have much energy to hang out too terribly long. I see no wrong. These are just all around because we haven't been out this way for a couple of days because of the storm. So all these zombies are trying to get around this choke point this river is. Show up here. Yep, no, and we go for a little bit of a similar vibe here. Yeah, I get a lot of people who tell me it's like, oh yeah, I tune into your thing when I'm going to call it a night. You know, almost uses like some kind of white noise. It is one of the things that's a little risky when I do some of these raids where it's like, okay, I pop into their channel. You know, when I go to raid, I pop in their channel, try and watch for like 30 seconds or so. It'd be like, alright, this person I don't know seems like they're chill. Like this seems like a good stream to, you know, send a raid to. And we have had once or twice that, you know, the raid showed up and they just started, you know, they had like heavy metal music that when I hopped in, their music was paused or something. And it's like, oh, That's not what we're aiming for. It's cool that that's what you got, but we just woke up everyone who was just vibing to the tunes. Yeah, it's always catchy. Like, because it's either A, you only raid people you know have chill streams, at which point you kind of get in your, not an echo chamber of feedback, but you kind of get yourself stuck into just this one little circle of people, and that's not the worst thing in the world or anything. But it's difficult to expand your audience as well as, you know, it's nice to be able to help people who are just breaking in, where they've got like 10, 13 viewers regularly, you know, they don't really have enough to have that fast kind of growth or anything. But, you know, they've got enough people, it's like, okay. Like, they clearly are doing something right that they actually have people tuning in. Like, you're not going to raid and have them with, like, having non-functional audio or anything. Or at least unlikely to. But yeah. It sometimes it's very difficult because like there are people who watch the number of viewers too much in regards to, oh, I don't have anyone watching, I'm just not going to talk kind of thing. Or like, I'm going to take it very relaxed, and then when a bunch of people get on camera, it's like, or a bunch of people get on the stream, it's like, oh, I need to hype up the energy. And it's hard not to get into that mindset either. Like when you have a big raid drop in you are going to be more likely to be like, oh, I need to be actually, you know, really doing my best here, like really over the top kind of thing. But unfortunately, like, you might catch them on that first thing where they're just like on their normal stream, that's just like, oh, this is perfect, this is exactly what I want, and then they feel that pressure that they need to perform, and then they're like, well, that's actually not what we were looking for. Oops, it's fine. Because I would definitely not like to have the stream where it's one of those ones where it's just, you know, 10, 12 people I, you know, raid all the time, and that's it, because I know, you know, they're quote-unquote safe or whatever. Because, man, that's how my channel took off, was, Trustness is like, oh, there's a person playing Project Zomboid. Let me drop a raid that I was, you know, I was doing okay numbers, but I was fighting to get affiliate. Because it was slow going. And then he just dropped in with a big raid, and people were like, oh, I like this, let's stick around. You know, we've been seeing pretty decent growth ever since, like, since I started mixing up the game schedule a little bit, it's slowed down growth, which is a shame, but I also don't want to be trapped to just one game all the time. My fear is being stuck in just one game is kind of twofold. One, that I'll just burn out of the game because it's all I get to do. And then the second one being, when that game's not the hot new thing or whatever, that suddenly my channel, like, loses its viewership, and then it's like, oh, well, I'll just start over. Because I've definitely seen that happen to other people, where they'll be like, oh, here's this game I really like, and then they burn out, they go try anything else, and that's not why people are there. So trying to mix it up a little bit. Not having too many games, but like 1 or 2 regulars, I feel is a good place to be. We'll see. I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm figuring out just like everyone else. That said, I've chosen RimWorld and Project Zomboid, and there is a lot of overlap in those communities, which really helps. Yeah, keep getting these zombies that were behind the trees and all that, but that's fine. Because we gotta kill them all. Well, thank you so much for the lurk, and you have yourself a good shower and figuring out your food. I still have a little bit over half an hour before I need to toss my food in the oven. So that'll be ready in time for when my wife gets home and we actually decide it's time to eat. She doesn't even know what I shot for today, so she has no idea what's happening. It's going to be excellent. Oh, hi, you sneaking up behind? That's not what we want to see. Okay, and I did leave all the bullets in the... Yeah, I got all the bullets in the trunk for the next helicopter so we could just pop off. Fine. Whistlebeak says, finally found a kidney. Rimworld makes you say the strangest things. It's so nice of those visitors to your colony to donate a kidney. It really helps. It's very charitable of them. Oh, you like traded for it kind of thing? That's fair. It's like, well, clearly it came from someone. But that someone that it came from is someone else's problem. Well, we went from finding zombies to seeing nothing for a good block's worth. Trade. I give you bullets, you give me kidneys. Yeah, and there's many ways that trade can go. The implied one being negotiation was non-refusable. Alright, got ourselves a little bit of a migration happening. None of which have any loot worthwhile, unfortunately. I want to get away from these trees, because trees are scary and they will betray you at a moment's notice. You can never trust a tree. They're just waiting for their moment. Yeah, and we're just using the short blunt because nice, well-rounded weapons, decent stamina use, decent damage. Not amazing at anything, but just decent all-rounder. I don't know where you came from, but you're getting out of here. Okay, we did get a late start today, so unfortunately it is getting dark. Not really sleepy though. We'll keep going. It is one of those things, if I keep backing out when it starts getting dark, we just won't make progress. So we're gonna let tired be our determining factor and just try and stick to the headlights. Is there an ideology in RimWorld that's like Dendrophia? I do not know what Dendrophia is off the top of my head. Oh, fear of trees? No. You know, they don't seem to have anything that's like a fear-based ideology or anything, not really. There's just stuff like you're either really about different cultures being represented, you're super chill with nature, or you're not about different cultures being represented. You're violent, you want to live in caves. You want to augment your body, so like cyborg people. So it's stuff like that, not fear-based. And I'll read that final message here in just a second. I want to focus a little bit just the moment, simply because we're in the dark and there's zombies, and in this game, one mistake ends a run. Yep, there's no one right there. So once I get a break in the zombies, I will I'll read that out. Okay, thank you for the follow. Fabio Sponge, welcome to the stream. Like the nature-loving one, they get upset if they don't have trees around. Like a lack of trees will make them upset. Or I want to say there's ones that I think they're like called body purists or something like that, that they find augmenting your people to be like unacceptable. Alright, give me one moment. New here, I love checking out PZ streamers. Am I reading this right? That over 13,000 kills in 4 game months? You are reading correctly, that we are at 13,711 kills. A big part of that is I am playing on the absolute maximum zombies that the game will allow unmodded. So that's 16 times the normal population of zombies you deal with. It may seem like it's quite a bit quieter than that. That's because we have killed 13,000 zombies, which does put a dent in the population a little bit. That said, we believe, and we don't have the ability to confirm this that I'm aware of, that there's a total population of somewhere in the area of 900,000 zombies on the map, give or take. So that can just add context. That while I've killed many zombie, there are many, many, many more zombie. Now, respawn is turned off for this run. The gimmick of this run is that we've set the zombies to the absolute maximum with the intention of wiping them all out. If I have respawn on, basically our playthrough will be choose a place to live, endless war at that location. You do not get to leave that location because that's just how high the zombie pops are in this. Like, you ever see the start of these runs, usually the start of this run is you spawn, you loot the building you're in, and then you get kicked out of town because there's just no way to navigate the zombies. Like, you just have to leave. You can't fight them. Like, even if you found a couple of weapons, you will break all of your weapons before you get to the next meaningful place. So in practice, you get evicted from town, you find some place quiet to start setting up, getting equipment, and then start pushing in. Yeah, I mean, the argument for the respawn is effectively that people are, like, getting infected from outside the area, walking into the area, that kind of stuff. It's not really gone into detail why, but that you have people from outside. I do not want to be backing up this way. I have not cleared this way in several days, so this can be dangerous, but I'm being kind of bullied into it. Alright, one of them had a spear, and it looked like a crap spear, but that's fine. It's a weapon. Still not getting too close to tired. It is dangerous for me to be out here fighting in the dark, really, but you know, it is what it is. And for the record, I do have a filter on OBS. I actually had to put it back on because I had to reset up OBS the other day. That the gamma, for everyone watching the stream, is about 25% higher for you than it is for me. So when I say it's dark, it is very dark for me. That's because I feel like nighttime is a meaningful and scary mechanic, and should be scary. It's cool if you disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. However you play the game, as long as you're having fun, congratulations. You are playing the game correctly. I do not like the country club, simply because there's too many trees along the roads that you can't really get a good sight on stuff. Yeah, I've seen, like, that's one of the beautiful things about this game is with how much you can adjust the sandbox, you can have totally different runs just based on a couple of things. Hey, stop. I'm trying to get my van and having a good time. Don't mess it up. But yeah, so I've had ones where we have ridiculous respawns. I've had runs where you have basically no respawns, like right now. I've had runs where there's a trait called Deaf, which makes it so there's no in-game sound, other than like your inventory opening and closing, which is very terrifying when you take into consideration house alarms, the helicopter, TV, radio. None of it works because you can't hear it. I'm not sure if you noticed, when I went to get out of the van, before I got out, the very first thing I did was I held right mouse button and immediately looked to see if there was any zombies up in that direction. just so I didn't, you know, step out into a zombie, because that's, again, a fast way to end a run. Yep, we did I think it was a 3-month run with Death. Like, it was going well. I don't even remember what got us on that one. Like, I don't think it was being ambushed because of Death. It was, like, I misplayed a fight or something. I can't remember exactly what. But, it was those ones like, I'm having a great time, but not even for the survival side. I just want the sound back because my game is so empty without sound. Like, part of me wants to do a Death run again at some point, but just, you know, I like my game having sound. Again, not even for, like, the difficulty of survival, it's just walking around in silence after a while. You're just like, no, really, I would like to hear things. You've taken away one of my senses and it bothers me. Oh, the Greater Danish has cashed in 5 push-ups. I'll get those real fast, and I'll be right back. Keeping it interesting for yourself is the only way to go, especially in roguelites and roguelike. Yep, it also means... So the reason I don't like it is fire in this game gets completely out of control so easily. And so you might be like, I'm going to burn down this one house, and then you start the fire and you go, well, I'm leaving Rosewood because Rosewood is basically gone. Like, that's my only problem with fire in this game, is it's just super sketch and dangerous on how it spreads, which would probably be realistic if you just kicked off a fire and there was no fire department or no one else to be like, oh, hey, fire, maybe we should try and put it out. Like, it could get out of control very easily if it's dry or something. Yep. And a lot of people have. A lot of people like, I'm going to do a quick burn here. It'll be fine. And the one zombie gets away and you're like, well, it's time to find a new town to be in because all these houses are absolutely sketchy now that they're full of holes. But yeah, that is one thing I mentioned on stream. A lot of people would be like, oh, you have this 200 zombies on it. You gonna burn them? It's like, nope, never. It's cool if you do it. Like, you know, play the way you want to play. Because if you're having fun, congratulations, you are playing correctly. But for me, burns aren't fun. Burns are just destructive is all they are for me. Plus, it takes so long for fire to kill zombies. Like, you just keep walking them in circles and circles and circles, waiting for the fire to finally take them. Yep. Finvaro is saying maybe in the middle of the mall parking lot, but even there it can get dicey. Yeah, it just takes one zombie getting away from you and then going into the mall and you go, well, rip the entire mall. Alright. I am taking this van home. I can't see, as I just mentioned. And I'm damaging the van terribly by hitting all these zombies. Well, that's 5 zombies we've killed with something other than our weapons. Why was it accelerating so fast, even for cruise control? Right. You can talk, like, but absolutely. If we're talking, you know, I've got 100 zombies, I'm walking around, then yeah, sorry. The fire will absolutely kill them faster than I could go through. And then especially if I'm using something like an axe is the only weapon I have available, I'm not going to have the stamina to fight it. And that's all fair things. Like, strategically, fire is not necessarily bad so long as you can keep it under control. Because I don't expect donations and all that. And I did have some, like, way long ago, but it's a whole thing where it was through Stream Elements, and when I had Stream Elements stuff, it wouldn't do the alerts because I used Streamlabs for most of that stuff, and it was a whole mess, so I got everything moving to Streamlabs, and I guess at some point it just stopped working. And it could be just maybe strictly credit card wasn't working, I don't know, but it should be fixed. And thank you for letting me know, and I need to switch my scenes. Give me one moment as I'm driving around. Okay, so I know how to fix my other stuff not working. Yeah, and I do appreciate that you were trying to donate energy, Smirk, like that. I appreciate that. That means a lot that you want to support the channel in that way. If it was something that I hadn't been able to like spot pretty quick when I got in there, I would have just dealt with it after stream. It's just that I saw, oh, I'm just missing 2 pieces of information for this. That probably was the cause. That we'll see. Yeah, unfortunately that fish didn't last this very long, which is part of why we're heading back. What I'm betting it was is those first donations or 2 are probably from PayPal to PayPal and not through the credit card. Oh, configurations. Always such a pain. Especially when they don't have like a good means of testing that doesn't just cost you money because, you know, you put it through there, you pay the fee for the transaction kind of thing. So you're like paying yourself to not get your full volume or whatever, or full amount back or whatever. Like I should just test it that way, I just didn't. Because again, when I set that up, I had no expectation anyone would ever donate. Or if they did, it would be so rare, it would be not worth mentioning. But people are far more generous than I expect. I mean, the number of people subbing. I didn't expect to have a viewership of over, like, 12 people. Let alone subs or tips or anything else like that. So, pretty reliably pulling in the area of somewhere around 50 people a night. Feels pretty good. You even have an emote of like someone flashing a credit card. Oh, this up here? So this is a mod called Minimal Display Bars. Oh. Okay. That's, I guess, progress. But, yes, this is a minimal display bars. Stupid zombies. So it's giving me information that you don't normally get until you get your Moodles up here. So if you look, like, the far left bar is health, the next one is hunger, so you'll notice it's past this first little tick, and that I am peckish because of it. Interesting. I wonder if it's because I just set it up and I have to do some validation or something. I'll after stream or something, what I'll do is I'll try and actually do a donation to myself to make sure I can get it working kind of thing. Because I do know with a lot of those things, and you set them up with an actual like bank account kind of thing, they deposit like 2 or 3 cents or 1 cent in a couple of times, and then you turn around, you know, and say this is the amount you sent, and it goes okay. Yep, no, but I do appreciate you letting me know. Alright, where normally we've been playing multiplayer on Tuesdays, it does sound like the other individuals I normally play with aren't available today, so this will be just, you know, a day of 16x pop. Sounds like we might try to do the multiplayer maybe on Friday, but we'll see. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the mods I'm running, and I actually do have a command !mods that have most of the mods around. I think there's one or two still missing from the list that honestly I have no excuse why they're there other than I keep forgetting to do it. But I have minimal display bars up here, which just gives you all that information where you don't have to wait for the moodles. You can be like, oh, my stamina is really low. I should stop before I hit exerted. So that's that one. You can't see it down here in the bottom, but all my weapons will have, like, actually you can see it up here in the corner on this weapon. You'll notice it's like half filled up with sort of a yellowish color. That's telling me my nightstick is about half health right now before it breaks. So that's weapon condition indicator mod. That's one I strongly recommend. I do run a mod that's a convenience mod called Auto Mechanic, which is when I'm working on my car, I can just choose train, and my character will go through and do the destruct. Like, I think you can configure it. I've never messed with the configurations though, but they will just remove and put the parts back in one by one. It doesn't give me any unfair advantages or anything. It just saves me doing a bunch of clicks. So I do it for protecting my wrists from RSI kind of reasons more than anything. Anything that I have to click a lot and those clicks aren't meaningful to me, then I have no problem modding away. And thank you for the follow, Coke Flakes. Welcome to the stream. So, like, in a game, if, like, here's an example. It's like Path of Exile. One of the things you want to do is you want to 6-link a chest piece or a two-handed weapon. And it can take you, like, 1,300 clicks easily. I think that's, like, the average doing it. So you'd have to right-click, hold shift, and keep left-clicking till you hit it. I have zero issue with just going there and saying, alright, holding shift, and then I push a button, it just starts mashing click real fast, because it will stop once you get your item. Just so I don't have to click 1,300 times, when each individual click basically means nothing to me. It's only how many did the currency did it take, and did I get the end result is the only things I actually care about. Oh yeah, actually, if we're gonna get into it, when my character wakes, well, first let me get some food going. Do I have more fish that's gonna, so is there anything, first of all, that is not fresh still? Okay, that's all fresh, so I'm gonna grab the fish, all of it. Put it on the fire. Yep, welcome to the rest of your life. No, I'm teasing. But it is a game you can sink some serious time into. What I'll do is once it's daylight and we have a zombie, I will go ahead and run through a bunch of stuff that you can do to make your experience better. Well, not better. To help you fight zombies more successfully. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. I would say it's one of the few games, but I'm going to be real with you. There's a number of games that have that effect on me. Factorio is one of those games. Oh, I'm just going to fix my iron line. When did the sun come up? What has happened? Satisfactory can be that way. Project Zomboid absolutely can be that way. RimWorld can be that way. City Skylines can be that way. Any game that you can get into like that focus headspace where you're just trying to like really get through the details and work through stuff. Oxygen not included. Yeah, Factorio was real bad for it. Just a small 10-hour play session. I mean, isn't that every night? No. I mean, actually, for those new to the channel, I do typically stream about 11 hours a day. So, that is quite literally pretty much every night. Yes, the factory must grow. The immutable fact of Factorio is the factory must grow. There's never, I think this factory is enough. No, you're wrong. The factory must grow. There is no limit to the factory's desire for growth. That's why I don't play PC until Fridays. That's not a bad strategy of how to approach it. It's like, if you know that you're not going to be able to manage that time, that is one of those... Oh, other games will do that. Stellaris will do that crap to you, where it's just, where did my entire day go? I haven't played Stellaris in a long time. Project Coaster and Project Zoo can be one of those games that, again, time just disappears.